Year 5 and 6, Miss Stewart here. Here's the checklist to help you write from Jack's perspective today. I'm going to read to you what I've put. There's also a copy of this on today's webpage as well to have a look at it. Make sure you understand it before you write from Jack's perspective. So I've started by saying you need to explain what you have experienced. So I've listed 3 main things that Jack has experienced today. So first of all, I've put Milky White, the cow running out of milk, and your mother being upset, you deciding to sell her at the market for a high price. So really make sure you're including your thoughts and feelings there, and try and include some imagery as well. For example, personification, metaphors, similes. Then, after you've done that paragraph, move on to a paragraph about meeting an unusual man on the road who knows your name, and being told about the beans that will grow into the sky, and how flabbergasted, how shocked and surprised you are with this idea. And then your last paragraph will be returning home to your mum and explaining that you exchanged the cow for 5 beans and her reaction to the news. Remember, you as Jack are really excited, you think you've done a great thing, and the mum's horrified by what you've done. Then on the right hand side, I've got an example of what I've written to give you some idea of the kind of standard I'm wanting for Year 5 and 6. This is my example. Desperate with hunger, it was time to sell our beloved cow Milky White at the local market, for her milk had long run dry. I had promised my mother, who was sick with worry, that I would get a decent price for our cow, 20 solid gold sovereigns. Incredulous at the news, she bade me farewell. Upon my journey, an unusual man approached me, calling my name. Like a wizened prune, his features contorted into a grimace. Stopping in my tracks, he came closer and told me he would take Milky White off my hands. In return, he was willing to offer 5 beans. Apparently these weren't any old beans, but beans that would grow and reach beyond the clouds. With my heart racing like a sports car, I seized upon his offer and made the deal. Mother would be so pleased to hear this news. So this is the beginning of mine. Then I've got some top tips to make sure you include in your writing. So remember, you're writing in the first person. You are Jack. So my example is with a light spring in my step, I made my way home. And make sure you're always varying your sentence openers as well to add more interest to the reader. So some of my examples are, at that precise moment, taking a deep breath I saw, despair filled her bones, angry bitter tears fell, she despaired at the fact I'd wasted the opportunity to make some money. Also, it's really important to improve your writing to use deliberate vocabulary choices. So here are some examples of mine. I've got staring in stupefied astonishment, incredulously I stared at, clattering over the cobbles we made our way wearily to market, giddy with joy. I think the giddy with joy will be when he's going home and he's so excited about the deal he's made with the unusual man. And then I've put, if possible, to include reported speech. That means you're retelling the words that were said and not using direct speech. So an example is, I told my mother how the beans were magic and would bring us great wealth. And then one of the success criteria today is to use imagery. So here are some of my examples. As light as a feather, I skipped home. As white as a piece of paper, she stood deadly still, staring at me. It felt like a lightning bolt had struck the very heart of me. When I saw my mother's disappointment, my heart was on fire. Another thing I'd like you to try and use today, Year 5 and 6, is inference. So you're showing the feelings of Jack rather than telling them. So for example, turning puce, her anger could not be concealed. So rather than saying my mother was angry, that's another way of putting it by showing the colour in her face. My cheeks flushed scarlet. So there you can see that Jack is embarrassed by what he's done. So rather than saying I felt embarrassed, my cheeks flushed scarlet, and with sweaty palms and that part shows that Jack is feeling nervous. So rather than saying I feel nervous or I felt nervous, you're showing it through the actions. And then please remember, Year 5 and 6, to check you have all your punctuation in place and you're using a wide range. So for example, brackets to add extra information, exclamation marks show shock, anger or surprise. Use a colon. So a colon is 2 dots to separate two independent clauses, or a semicolon to join dependent clauses together. Use paragraphs. Make sure this is really important to do this. If it's a new time in your story, use a new paragraph. If it's a new place in your story, use a new paragraph. And if it's a new event in your story, use a new paragraph. It's really important. You can show that you can use those. Anyway, good luck writing from Jack's perspective today. I can't wait to see your writing. Make sure you send it to me once it's done. Write an evaluative comment as well, just one sentence letting me know how you get on with it. Take care, good luck, bye.